All right, was the Trump CNN town hall the most corrosive television event in political history? Depends who you ask. For example, Republican Congressman Byron Donalds was actually reinvigorated into continuing to not answer the simple question, did Trump win in 2020 or did he lose? Trump setting the tone during the town hall that he's insisting he won. Byron Donalds asked about it. He will not acknowledge nearly 3 years later that Trump simply lost that day. This is one of the reasons why these events are so corrosive. Listen to this.
Oversight committee.
Congressman, can I just ask?
Are the facts? Go ahead.
You do acknowledge Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, correct?
Again, we're going to continue to talk about 2020?
No, I mean, it's a direct
right
question.
Now, hold on. Let me
tell
tell you why most voters are frankly kind of tired of y'all bringing this up. Inflation, border.
You don't have the courage to express your opinion about what
I'm a Republican voter. I'm a Republican voter.
Voters want to talk about inflation, the border, fentanyl, the debt ceiling, foreign policy. If you want to talk about the 2020 election, let's talk about this. We do know that Mark Elias was in many jurisdictions suing to actually change election procedures, which, by the way, is at the hands of the state legislature in every state, according to the Constitution. Not in the hands of courts, not in the hands of the Supreme Court, the state legislature. We do know that to be a fact. We do know that true.
You won't state your opinion about factually what happened in the 2020 election?
You guys want me to make a statement. And this is, Frank, let me tell you right now.
This is not a trick question. They act like it's a trick question. It's just, okay, fine. You want Trump to have won. You want him to win in 2024. You think Biden's bad. But can we just start with Biden did win? Can we start there? They refuse. Joe Scarborough from MSNBC this morning had actually a pretty good take about the impact of this town hall.
No surprises, and yet it was a disgraceful performance.
Yes.
I'm constantly telling people not to catastrophize over Trump, that he's actually going to lose.
This is a former Republican member of Congress, by the way.
Because he keeps drilling down deeper and deeper into his base. But it is. I can't believe I'm going to use catastrophizing language here. But it was disgraceful on every level.
Yeah.
It showed. I wouldn't say it's dangerous for democracy because we passed that a long time ago. But it showed the corrosive effects of Trumpism over 8 years. And I've got to say, the most shocking part was an audience who cheered on a president who tried to overturn American democracy.
Yeah, Joe Scarborough is completely right. Now, a practical question becomes, did Trump convince anybody one way or the other? We'll get to Van Jones's take on what it did to Democrats, but they actually had a focus group on CNN with a group of Trump supporters. And you may or may not be interested to hear that it didn't affect any of them one way or the other. Trump spending that time just lying and lying and lying, it just had no impact one way or the other.
To vote, but that's what they have in common, that most of them are Trump supporters. What I want to ask you first of all is, do you think, show of hands, anybody think Donald Trump looks better after this town hall?
No hands.
Any of you think he looks worse?
No hands.
Any of you think the same thing about him as you did when you walked in?
So on Trump supporters, it had no impact whatsoever. What about on Democrats? Well, Van Jones says, if you watch this and you're a Democrat, you're probably feeling a lot better about Joe Biden all of a sudden.
I think if you're a Democrat watching that, you think, we've been criticizing and complaining about Biden? This is a horror show that we don't want a rerun of. And I think a lot of Democrats were appalled by his behavior, him throwing Ukraine under the bus. I hope he gets sued again this morning for libel and slander and everything else. He's being so horrible, toward the people who have been on the other side of his legal cases. But, I think that we've got to be careful here now because Trump has a particular trick that he uses with nostalgia. The whole Make America Great Again is about, there was this era that was wonderful. It was 1950.
Yeah, which we've talked about before. So listen, I think the best case scenario, as atrocious and disgusting as the event was on the merits, The hope is Trump supporters still support him. Other Republicans were maybe appalled. And of course, Democrats may be appalled enough that now they are more interested in coming out to vote in 2024 against Trump if he is indeed the nominee. It's still a while to go, but let's hope that's the outcome. Plastic, it's everywhere we look, and not enough is being done about it. 100 billion plastic bags are used and thrown away every year. Here's something super simple you can do to reduce plastic and help the planet a little bit. Our sponsor, Hold On Bags, is the company making plastic-free trash bags and zip seal kitchen bags. They're just as strong and high quality as the plastic bags you're used to. Hold On bags are 100% plant-based and home compostable, meaning they break down in just weeks, not decades. Their zip seal kitchen bags come in sandwich or gallon size to fit all of your needs, whether it's carrots or crayons. At home, I put all of my food waste in a Hold On trash bag, throw it in the compost pile, and when I throw a Hold On trash bag in my dumpster, I love knowing it's not filling our landfills and oceans with plastic. Single-use plastics harm the planet at every stage: production, disposal, decomposition. Join the growing movement away from single-use plastic. These products are really great. It's so easy to make the switch. Go to holdonbags.com/Pacman and you'll get 20% off with code Pacman at checkout. The link is down below.